Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining from many places around the world. It's thrilling, absolutely thrilling to see you and to be here for this occasion. Some had felt that an initiation held by Zoom might be a little odd. However, actually, it's the sound vibration and the intention that's expressed that changes the world forever. And today, we're already feeling in anticipation a great swell of pride and gratitude, many mixed emotions, at least I am, from those of you who have come here today. Mridula Mataji, so happy to see you again. Thank you for being here. It's so befitting that you're surrounded by Shastra and effulgent, living the life that you're living there, and the history you have. Vijayawada Namrata, surrounded by dear devotees from locally and from around the world. And let me find dear Chaitan. Chaitan, you look fantastic. You're a sadhu. The last time we saw each other was in Govardhan. And I'm in my mind, I'm still there with you. In my mind, I'm still there with you. And the well-wishers who I'm seeing here today, it's just really heartfelt. And as I was saying with Zoom, how is it different? Well, the sound vibration's coming through. And also, it's one that we'll remember. This is the one that took place, hopefully near the end of the pandemic, at the tail end. Nonetheless, as it says, I love how Rupa Goswami has quoted in the Nectar of Devotion that if you feel like taking a bath in the confluence of the Ganges, Jamuna, and Saraswati during the month of Magh, my goodness, you're going to do it. Magh is freezing cold. I've been there before at that time. The point is, we don't care what's happening in the world. We're going for it. We're going to take shelter of Krishna no matter what anybody else says. We're going to take shelter of the holy name, and we're going to spread the holy names all over the world. And I welcome the three of you into this fold of dedicated warriors for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who are set on spreading the holy names, chanting the holy names, and being kind to all living entities. Thank you a million times for stepping forward. You're setting an example for the whole world. Let's start in a traditional way so we have a semblance of normality as far as doing a fire sacrifice. And Prabhupada would start with saying Achman. So, do you all have an Achmana cup?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Namrata?
Yes,
They
Guru
gave you?
Maharaj.
Okay. Okay, Julius, come on. Visual evidence. Okay. I figured if Shraddha and team were involved in this, definitely everyone has what they need. So let's start by saying Achmana. Also, I want to thank Bhagavadashraya Prabhu for being here today, my dear godbrother, and Sarva Mataji. Just seeing you gives joy to my heart. Thank you very much for always giving us strength by your association. Yashoda Dulal Prabhu, kindest person I've ever met in my life, I think. If I had to put money on it, that's what I'd say, but we don't bet. Okay, and Ladini Gopika, great to see you. Thank you for instigating. Let's do Achmana together. And first I'll start with the mantra. Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastan katopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sababhya abhyantara shuchihi Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Now let's say Achmana, please. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Apavitra, you can repeat. Apavitrova sarvabhastangatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sababhya bhyantara shuchihi Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Apavitra Pavitrova Sarvavastan Katopi va Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sababhyabhyantara Shuchihi Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. One last time. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. And now let's sing together the Brahma Samhita. In 1975, I was in Chicago, and Srila Prabhupada installed several sets of deities. He initiated hundreds of devotees from the Radha Damodar party. And at that time, the Brahma Samhita was new as far as all the verses. We knew the Govindam prayers. And we sang them, a group of us, for Srila Prabhupada, along with the Purusha Suktam. And afterwards, Srila Prabhupada said he liked it very much, and he hoped that we would do it at every ceremony. So following his, to fulfill his desire, let's sing together the Sri Brahma Samhita. I'm going to switch over to Jamulus so that we can sing together with, I can sing together with the rest of the Jamulus team. So I'll just be right back. Avantika, if you give us a drone. Can we have Ishvara Parama Krishna? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakchirananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Everyone on Jamula sing loud, please. Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kvadantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kala Sadvana Malya Vamshi Ragnangadam pranayakelikalabhilasham Shyamam Tripangalalitam Niyatah Prakasham Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yassa Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Satujvala Vigrahasya Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlamamaturlamamatma Bhaktao Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sambrakamyo Vayodatapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sopyasti Yaprapadasindya Vichintya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Eko Pyataura Chaditum Jagadanda Kotim Yachakti Rasti Jagadanda Chayayatantaha Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavi Tadiyo Manujasta Taiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasana Yada Bhusha Suktaryameva Nagama Patitai Suvanti Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratipavithabis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Muti Shukalani Amena Tishtan Nanavataram Akorod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Koti Shrishesha Vasudari Vibhuddhipinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitayamana Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmataya Manasu Yat Praninam Pratipalam Smartamupetya Leelayatena Kuvanani Jayatya Jastram Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Golokanamni Nijadamni Tale Chatasya Devi Mahesha Haritava Suteshu Teshu Te Te Prabhava Nichaya Vihitascha Yena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shrishti Stiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Nischayeva yasya bhuvanani viparti durga Ichchadurupam api yasya chacheshtate sa Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Shiram yatar nivikara vishesha yoga Sanjayate nahi tata pradagasti heto Yashambhutam api tata samhaiti karyat Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Departure eva hira shantanam adyupetya Dipayate vravita hetu samana dharma Yasthadrageva hija vishnu taya vipati Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yakarnarnavajade bhajati sma yoga Nidramananta jagarana saromakupaha Adhara shaktim avalambya param samurtim Govindamadi purusham tamam bhajami Yasyaika nishvasita kalamatavalamkya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanatha Vishnur mahansa idayasya kaladishesho Govindamari purusham tamam bhajami Vasanyatashva shakvaleshu nijeshu tejaha Siyam kiyat prakatayat kavidat vadatra Brahmaya esha jagadanda vidana karada Govindamari purusham tamam bhajami Yatpada pallava yugam vinidaya kumbha Svande pranama samaye sakanadi raja Vignan vihantam alamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Agnirmahi kavanam ambum murudya shashya Kalastatma manasiti jagatrayani Yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yachchakshudesha savita sakalagrahanam Raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja Yasya naya brahmati sampratakala chakro Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Dharmo tapapanya jaya shutaya sapamsi Brahmani kita patakavadayasya jiva Yaddatta matra vibhava pranata prabhava Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yastvindra gopam atavindra mahosa karma Bandhan rupa palavajana matanoti Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yam krodha kama sahaja prayahi iti Vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhavai Sanchintya tassa sadrishim dharma purete Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Sriya kanta kanta parama purushakalpataravo Druma Munishchintamani Karmayitoyam Amritam Tataganam Natyam Kamanam Apipam Shipriyasaki Chidanandam Jyoti Paramapitara Svatyam Apicha Sayatra Shiravi Sravati Surabhi Vyashasumahan Niveshardakyo Vrajati Yatrapi Samayaha Bhaje Shveta Dvipam Tamaham Vihagolokimiyam Vidantaste Shantakshiti Viralachara Katipaye Ato Vacha Mahavishnu Bhagavatam Prajapatim Brahman Mahatpadignane Prajasarge Chachimati Pancha Shloki Mimam Vidyam Vatsatalpam Vibodame Prabhude Jnana Bhakti Vidya Mahayananda Chinmayi Ude Tunitama Bhakti Bhagavat Prema Lakshana Kamanai Satsara Acharai Staravyasendrantaram Udayanat Manatmanam Bhaktimam Yutamam Labe Yasya Shreyaskaram Nasti Yaya Nivritamapnuya Yasariyati Maneva Bhaktim Kame Vasadaye Dharmam Manyan Parityaja Mamekam Bhaja Vishwasam Yadrishi Yadrishi Shraddha Siddhir Bhavati Kadrishi Kurvandirantaram Karma Lokoyam Anuvartate Tenaiva Karmanatyayan Mamparam Bhaktimicchati Aham hi Vishwasya Characharasya Bijam Pradhanam Prakriti Pumamscha Vayahitam Tejaidam Vimarshi Vide Videhi Tvamato Jagandhi Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakaranam Iti Sri Brahma Samhim Sampurnam Hadi Om. And as Jiva Goswami requires, before any ceremony and after every ceremony, we should chant the holy names. So we'll have a very short kirtan with the holy names. I'm putting this back right on. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari
Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pracharine Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita
Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Haribo, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande,
Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Dear devotees, I offer you all my respectful obeisances. Thank you very much again for being here. This feels very different from the classes I have been giving, because oftentimes I'm speaking to a room full of people, a Zoom room full of people who don't know much about Krishna consciousness. And there's a different vibration, a different need people have. And when there are devotees who are such as yourselves, as you're doing today, Chaitan, Mridul, Namrata, giving an act of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's a long way. That's a long path. Manushyanam sahasreshu kashid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kashim mamveti tatvataha. Krishna says in the Gita how rare it is for among millions of people, there are some that take to spiritual life, but they're not so serious. Amongst those who are actually serious, he said there's not that many that have it right, that actually have refined their desire so much that Krishna has given them, has reciprocated with providing a helping hand through a parampara that's giving pure devotional service without any tinge of what the Bhagavatam calls this kind of going around the issue, dharma projita kaitavo. But just wholeheartedly admitting that the only way to have a successful life is really to be a servant of Krishna and a servant of Krishna's servants. So because that's your intention, there is no meter that, not a mechanical one, that measures intention. But we're definitely feeling it here. That's what I'm feeling. So this is the first initiation, we call first initiation, Harinam initiation, in the process of surrendering to Krishna. Rupa Goswami says that you should find a guru, you should take shelter, you should inquire, and then you should take initiation. As when you do take initiation, then something changes. Until you make a commitment, you don't know what's waiting for you. That's the secret. You can think about it, but then you actually have to say, okay, I'm putting myself in. I'm the one who's going to do this all the way. And it seems like a risk, but there's no risk at all, actually, ultimately. The only risk is hesitating, because anything can happen in the world. Samashvitaye parapalava plavam mahapanam punya yasho marare bhavam vidirvatsa padam param yad vipadam natesham. The Bhagavatam says Krishna's there to protect us at every step. Let him do it. Let him protect us. You can't do it. You've tried so many times and it just didn't work out. It slipped through your fingers every time we try to protect ourselves. So coming to this position of saying, Krishna, I'm taking shelter of you. It's so sweet. It's sweet surrender. It's finally letting go and saying, Krishna, I'm taking shelter of you. And there's a very specific way that we take shelter under Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession. It's through taking the holy name as our life and soul. The Bhagavatam starts off with saying everything is resting on the holy name. Everything comes from the holy name. The sages at Naimasaranya, apana samsritim gauranya nama vivisho granan tata sadyo vimucheta yabhipeti swayam bayam. They say, take shelter here, because Krishna is the only one who can protect you from all danger. Nobody else. And throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear the glories of the holy name. Ajamil, who had lost his way, but because of previous momentum in devotional service, he kept the name, Narayan, for his son, and then called it out. And then that section of the Bhagavatam, it's about how the Lord protects us. Poshanam. How does he protect us from hellish conditions? The degradation of our own consciousness by the holy name. It saved Ajamil only one time. In the lecture Prabhupada's giving, you can hear, they had it in the transcript that he said it 3 times. Prabhupada stopped. He said, no, he said it one time. One time is enough that he said those syllables, Narayana. And then he was saved by Krishna's holy name. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received this from his spiritual master, Srila Ishvara Puri, who told him that in the age of Kali Yuga, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalonastevana, stevanasteva gatiranyata. There's no other process that's going to work for you except for taking the holy name. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking initiation, then became disoriented by chanting. In fact, he became unhinged. he went back to his guru and said, "You gave me a mantra, I'm just checking if it was the right one, because when I chant, I feel like, well, I become a madman." And his spiritual master, Srila Ishvara Puri, said, "That's very good." And he quoted a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which he said is the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Evam vratasva priya nama kirtya jatana rago jitachuta uche hasatyato rotiti roti gayati unmadavam mritti lokabhayaha. He said, and actually this is from Bhagavatam, mentions that when one takes a vow to chant the holy names, has become educated spiritually about how Krishna and his name are non-different, how we're connected to Krishna through chanting, and that person then evam vratasva priyanama and the person begins practicing the chanting, then the name becomes very dear to the devotee. And then there's an effect that the chanting has, that the heart of the devotee softens, and then druta chitta, it melts by the power of the holy name. Hasatito rotiti rotigai. It describes how somebody doesn't even care anymore for the goings on in the material world. And Mahaprabhu is like that. So, to become close to the holy name by following a lifestyle of avoiding offensive kinds of behavior or attitudes is also required, because one can go on chanting Hare Krishna, but unless one lives with the right attitude towards all living entities, towards devotees, for instance, and don't participate in criticizing devotees. Because as a godbrother of mine said the other day that, okay, so what? They did this or that, but look at them. Out of all the millions and billions of people in the world, they're chanting Hare Krishna. And Krishna says the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita, that even if you find somebody that is a devotee, but they have apparently a worldly behavior, and he said, you have to consider that they're saintly, because they're going to come to the perfection just because they're chanting Hare Krishna. They're continuing the process. So don't criticize. This is one of the main ways to make advancement in devotional service, is to deliberately not participate in criticizing devotees. Of course, if you're a manager or something like that, you give constructive criticism in such a way that is palatable, that helps the person, or if somebody becomes your student, you have to do that. But even then you have to be careful, because living entities are very sensitive. So the first way to continue chanting the holy name and not make obstacles is to avoid that criticism of devotees. Don't gossip, don't talk about them, don't write it on the internet. Be very careful. Go out of your way. People will notice that that's your ethos, that you don't do that. And Krishna will especially notice it. And that's how you make advancement in chanting the holy name. And then also being very careful to have integrity. That is, don't hide anything, be sincere. And if you have some difficulty, then find a confidential person who you can talk to refine your actions or get back on track again, so that you don't take advantage of the process or just slip away. The other system that's recommended is to keep steady in chanting every day as your main activity, because by chanting a fixed number of rounds every day without fail, then there's a way that you start to get a taste. Rupa Goswami said it's like taking medicine. In the beginning it doesn't taste good, but if you keep practicing, and even if you get a little taste, then you're the most fortunate person. And that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, is the purpose of human life. Anuragto habehe. Try to get a little taste for chanting Hare Krishna. Make it your own your main business is to chant and get a taste for it. And Enechi Ashauri Maya, Nashibaru Lagazi, it's like medicine. So, as I put out in the papers that I gave you, there's a system for coming closer to Krishna. And as I mentioned from the Nectar of Devotion, there's a step-by-step process. So initiation is part of that process. Formally accepting a spiritual master, making vows. My position is that I'm a follower of Srila Prabhupada. I met him and decided to dedicate my life to him. Personally, I'm a mercy case picked up by Srila Prabhupada along with many others who were minding their own business here in the United States of America with no particular spiritual direction at all. And he came over and picked us all up. And he ordered us to do this, to go on expanding the Krishna consciousness movement. And that's my full intention. Whatever else happens in the world at any time, I'm fully invested in this, and I'm fully invested in you, and I am dedicated to doing whatever I can to help you to continue on the path of devotional service until you attain the perfect stage, meaning that you're on the safe side, that you have a taste for chanting the holy name, and that you're fully invested in service to the Sankirtan movement. That's my job. That's my intention. If that's okay, please say okay. If you'll allow me to help. Mridula? Okay?
Okay.
I need a verbal yes, like sitting in the exit row.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, thank you very much. So from your side, if you'd kindly help me by becoming advanced. Keep yourselves in a spiritually fit condition for the sake of the world, for the sake of yourself. Save yourself first. And please, if you'll do that, I'd really appreciate it. There's a lot we can do as a huge team all over the world of devotees with those who are strictly following the process can become extremely useful to Srila Prabhupada and to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for spreading the movement all over the world. So do it for their sake. Keep yourself in high spiritual consciousness in every way that you possibly can. So the process is to follow 4 regulative principles, which is really commonsensical. Don't drink anything that will ignite, because that's foolhardy, or that makes you stupid. Don't do stuff that makes you stupid, because we're already stupid in the age of Kali. We don't have to be stupider, if that's a word. I don't think it is. Then also be very gentle, the way you move around the world, the way you eat. Be careful. It's a real shame, the way people treat the earth, the way they treat animals and so forth. We have to be examples to show people how to live high-mindedly by being gentle with animals and the way we eat, the way we live. Don't eat meat, fish, or eggs. Gambling means you forget that actually everything is being provided by Krishna. Is to gamble on this, that I surrender to Krishna, and whatever Krishna you provide, then that's okay. Roll the dice on that, that's okay. You just make yourself into a pair of die, and then you can roll and say, Krishna, you roll me whatever way you want. And no illicit sex, it's very entangling. You can have full permission just to, the whole sexual encounter in the material world becomes fully entangling, unless it's really deliberately done for raising Krishna conscious children. So full permission to do that and not become distracted in any way in the material world. It's the same trick everybody falls for. It's the same trick animals fall for. And so we're not going to fall for it. It's a colossal hoax, and we're not into it. That's why we're taking initiation today. We're crossing that off our list, all those things off our list. And Prabhupada said those who follow 4 regular principles and chant 16 rounds, they become worshipable all over the world. That's why when the devotees first went back to India with Prabhupada, they were going down the street to Harinam, and there were people coming out from their houses, and they were taking the dust from the road, so that practically there were holes in the road. They were taking so much dust because they saw these young people who had dedicated their lives to the process of Krishna consciousness. It's the best thing that you can possibly do. It's really smart, and it's really good. And so, good for you. So today you get to say it to the world, and it's going to be on the internet and recorded and everybody listening. And if you want to see, if you spotlight, I'm going to move out of the way so the camera focuses. You can see the Mahaprabhu is there with Giriraj Maharaj just behind. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Srimad Mahaprabhu ki jai. Our parikram deities. And they're watching, witnessing everything today. So now let's move to the next part of the ceremony, and we will have some of the devotees that will talk about the initiates. And first of all, I'm going to have Namrata go first, because Yashoda Dulal Prabhu is on the East Coast, and it's getting late at night. And so he came here specifically to speak. So first of all, I'm going to ask that we move our attention to Namrata, who has she and her husband, Jagannath Dev Prabhu, have been practicing Krishna consciousness for a long time. I feel very fortunate to have come in contact with her and with Jagannath Dev Prabhu, and to know the both of them. I feel strong connection now to the whole continent of Australia because of that, and many other things, and many other people who are there, and many of them in the room there. So now that you're spotlighted, Namrata, first of all, we're going to ask Yashoda Dulal Prabhu and anybody else who would like to say a few words about Namrata before she takes her vows, and I give her a spiritual name.
Thank you. Namrata, do you want me to go first or someone else to go first? Because I know you have 2 people lined up.
Shraddha, how do we have it listed?
We had Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu going up. And then
Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu? And okay, let's follow Shraddha's list because she and her team thought about it very carefully.
Hare Krishna. I didn't realize until I think yesterday that I was going to be asked to say anything, and I was wondering, well, what am I going to say? Right up until this morning, I was wondering, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And quite early this morning, my wife, Sava, went out to get a little present for Namrata. And when she walked back in with the present, I realized exactly what I wanted to say, because she walked in with a sunflower. And I thought, yes, Namrata is like the sunshine. And I thought of many songs. A little ray of sunshine has come into my life. I've forgotten those songs. They all went out of my mind. That was the only one that stayed in my mind. But I have this very, very strong image of the sun with Namrata because, like the sun, she's very bright. She's very warm. She's very steady. And she's very fixed. And these are all very wonderful qualities. And I bless the day that Namrata and Jagannath Dev came into our lives. And I pray that we have many years of service together. Your Guru Maharaj is a person who's very dear to me. So there's the saying, two things that are equal to a third thing must be equal to each other. So I love him, he loves me, so we love you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
So,
you.
Anyway, I confirm that. Okay. Yashoda Dula Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yeah, so first off, Vaisesika Prabhu, I came here to hear from you, not to speak. I'm speaking because my beloved niece Namrata wants me to speak. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate grim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. So I'd like to begin by offering my profound gratitude to you, Shriman Vaisesika Prabhu, for accepting my niece Namrata as your disciple. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 16.74, a first-class Vaishnava is he whose very presence makes others chant the holy name of Krishna. No one who knows you even a little will doubt that you are such a first-class Vaishnava. And also without doubt is that you are the living embodiment of Krishna's assertion in Bhagavad Gita 9.2 that bhakti is susukham kartum avyayam. It's performed joyfully. Our gratitude also to Nirakula Devi for offering Namrata her own shelter and guidance. Namrata married my sister Ujjvala Ras's son Jagannath Dev, or Jay, 10 years ago. My wife Sri Radhika and I immediately took to her, and we were charmed by Namrata's gentle disposition, grace, and devotion to Srila Prabhupada. As we got to know her family better, where she had grown up and spent the first 2 decades of her life, we understood that these qualities were nurtured by the grace and bhakti of her parents, Sridham Sham Prabhu and Sumadhura Radha Devi. They're on here today. Namrata's 2 sisters, Rajabhumi and Payal, are also wonderful devotees, as are their husbands. Namrata and her husband Jay practice Krishna Bhakti very nicely together. They read and hear extensively. They teach regularly, as well as lead beautiful kirtans. Even though they live in Australia and we live in New Jersey in the US, we catch up on FaceTime and Zoom and Facebook and so on. And we follow along as to what they're doing. From time to time, she texts me a verse or purport that has caught her attention or wants to discuss some aspect of bhakti in more detail. She's very thoughtful, grounded, and a really sincere practitioner of bhakti. My sister Ujjvala Ras and her husband Manohar love Namrata completely. They consider her a daughter, not a daughter-in-law. My wife Sri Radhika is on Zoom today, but she's shy to be on camera late at night after an entire day battling a huge migraine. But she's listening and sending her blessings when we talked to Namrata earlier. We both dearly love you, Namrata, and we wish you all the best as you begin a new chapter in your life today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Yashoda Dula Prabhu. And now, one of my favorite devotees on the planet, we have Sarvamangala. Devi Dasi, would you please say a few words?
sunflower steal my story, which you did. That's okay, because what I was actually thinking is that well, I was actually meditating on her getting the light of knowledge from a spiritual master in Parampara from Srila Prabhupada. And I pray that she carries it out into the world, because she has a very sweet personality, likable person, lovable person. So that's my wish for her for the future, to shine your light of knowledge with others. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for offering blessings, Sarvamangala Devi Dasi. Okay, so now Namrata, so now is somebody nearby with beads? Yes. And have you put on 3 strands of Tulsi? Tulsi Mala, we'll do that now. Okay. So this is one of the aspects of initiation, is to show the signs of being a Vaishnava, is by wearing the Tulsi Mala. Wherever you may go, people see them and they always do a double take. Like, what is that? And those who know, no matter where you go, they'll say, Hari Bol. It's so nice because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wore them, and so did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Srila Prabhupada wore 3 strands, and we just follow them. Acharya Van Purusho Veda. We follow the acharyas in their footsteps. We watch what they do, and we do that. That's what you're doing. So please tell us, everybody here before the deities, for Srila Prabhupada, for Shishi Gornitai and Giriraj Maharaj and your spiritual master, what are your intentions? Which vows have you come here to make today?
I vow today to chant 16 rounds, minimum 16 rounds of, I'll start again. I vow today to chant minimum 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day for the rest of my life. And I vow to follow the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. I also vow to be a faithful servant of Srila Prabhupada's movement for the rest of my life.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Namrata, following the eternal principle of Parampara, taking Srila Prabhupada's and Lord Chaitanya's order to expand the Sankirtan movement as my life and soul, and depending on their mercy, the mercy of the previous acharyas, and all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are like desire trees, I'm exceedingly pleased to accept you as my disciple, and therefore a grand disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and a member of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. May all the previous acharyas and the ocean of mercy, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, shower you with their grace. And I'm going to give you a certificate. It's going to come in the mail to prove. I hereby joyfully award you the name Nam Chintamani Devi Dasi.
Nam Chintamani Devi Dasi ki.
Jai.
His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirakula Devi ki. Jai.
And I'm handing you your certificate. It'll come in the mail soon. We can try again. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
It came through.
Gaur Premanande Haribol. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Next, we have Srimati Mridula, who found Krishna consciousness all the way down in South India, Vijayawada, and has had a huge support system. Married to Vamshuli Prabhu, who is a staunch devotee and practitioner of Krishna consciousness. There he is. Hare Krishna Vamshuli Prabhu, Gaur Premanande Harival. Her favorite bhajan is Bhaja Gaurango. Anybody who likes that bhajan, I like. Let's have a some of the devotees or whomever is going to speak about you can go now.
Vansuli Prabhu will speak for you.
Oh, good.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. With the permission of your grace and all the devotees assembled here, I bless Mridula. Marrying Mridula is the best thing that happened to me because I understood a lot of the devotional qualities. How do they look in person? I have seen how patient she is, how focused in devotional service, always bringing our practice back to connect with the best possible way we can do it. She's so enthusiastic in book distribution. She loves to distribute books. And she's always thinking of ways, how can we do this better? How can we distribute Chaitanya Charitamrita sets? How do we plan to go out and set up a table? She's always finding ways and pushing me to do better in bhakti. So that inspiration. At the same time, she's so grounded and she's so calm and as she does this. So I'm inspired by her and I pray that all the Vaishnavas assembled here, the entire Guru's parampara, kindly bless her, shower her with blessings and affection. And may Lord Krishna, his pastimes, his instructions attract her incessantly. And may her path back to Goloka be protected by Lord Narasimhadev. And may she be always be engaged in the services of serving Vaishnavas, serving Guru. And may she always get the choicest services and choicest blessings of the Vaishnavas that she wants to engage in. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for accepting Mridula.
Srimati Mridula, could you please tell us which vows you came here to make today?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for accepting me as your disciple. On this occasion, I will be at your notice. I chant a minimum of 16 rounds daily, and I chant that I follow the 4 regulative principles of no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. And I also vow that I willfully not offend the Vaishnavas, and I do my best in this Sankirtana movement. Thank you so much.
Well done. Really, really nicely done. Thank you so much. Following the eternal principle of parampara, taking Srila Prabhupada's and Lord Chaitanya's order to expand the Sankirtan movement as my life and soul, and depending on their mercy, the mercy of the previous acharyas, and all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are like desire trees, I'm exceedingly pleased to accept you as my disciple, and therefore a grand disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and a member of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. May all the previous acharyas and the ocean of mercy, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, shower you with their grace. We'll also be sending you a certificate very soon. And Vamshuli, do you have the beads?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
And do you have the 3 strands of neck beads on now?
I have to place it.
Okay, you can place those. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you have the chanting beads?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. I hereby joyfully award you the name Mangala Bhakti Devi Dasi.
Hare
Hari Hari Bol.
Mangala Bhakti Devi Dasi ki.
Jai. Gaur Premanande Haribo.
Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna. And next, we have Chetan. There you are. Chetan. So good to see you again. And are you in Noida?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj Ji, Dando Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Guru Maharaj Ji, I'm in Noida.
Okay. Jaganananda Pandit Prabhu.
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words?
Hare Krishna, Shashika, please accept my humble obeisances. Myself, Jagdanand Pandit Das. I'm a Bhakt Chetan facilitator from the representative from ISKCON Noida. So Bhakt Chetan is a very enthusiastic devotee. From the last 4 years, he is practicing Krishna consciousness, following the 4 regulative principles, chanting of 16 rounds, and sharing the sadhana card also. And he's very much inspired from you, and always thinking of how to distribute more and more of books. And you will be pleased to know that he achieved the number 1 score by distributing 45 and 80 Bhagavad Gita in Noida, and he's the first. And so even we recently have a Kirtan Mela at base. So he said how we can. I was not that much inspired, but he said, "Prabhuji, let's have a stall of book distribution for there only." So Sundays he also plans prasadam distribution also, and same time book distributions to different areas of Noida, and Kirtan in the nearby park, so that more and more people can come and take the Krishna consciousness movement. So I pray to Shri Radha Govind Dev Ji, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra and Sudarshan, Shri Gaunita and Srila Prabhupada to bless him with the Krishna consciousness and the Krishna conscious journey. Hare Krishna.
Jaganananda Pandit Prabhu, thank you for the service that you're doing, helping young devotees become fixed up and great followers of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. We're so impressed with your service. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Bhakti Chaitan, please tell us the vows that you've come here to make today.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj Ji, Guru Mata Ji, Dando Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. I will always chant minimum 16 rounds every day of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And I will follow the 4 regulative principles: no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating.
Very wise indeed. Thank you so much. Following the eternal principle of parampara, taking Srila Prabhupada's and Lord Chaitanya's order to expand the Sankirtan movement as my life and soul, and depending on their mercy, the mercy of the previous acharyas, and all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are like desire trees, I'm exceedingly pleased to accept you as my disciple, and therefore a grand disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and a member of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. May all of the previous acharyas and the ocean of mercy, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, shower you with their grace. And do you have the three strands? Can you, Jagadananda Prabhu? Yeah, okay, very nice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Do they fit okay? Not too tight? Okay.
Perfect, Guru Maharaj.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Right. I know the Japatis are good up there, so Noita's famous for Japatis. Okay, I'm glad they fit well. And you have the beads ready? Very good. Okay. I hereby, this is a name of Lord Jagannath, very special name of Lord Jagannath. I hereby joyfully award you the name Chakadola Das. Hare Krishna.
Chakadola Das Prabhu ki.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Chakadola Das Prabhu ki
Jai.
We'll be sending you, it means, for those of you who don't speak Oriyan or Bengali, it means Lord Jagannath who has very big round eyes, Chakadola. And we'll be sending you your certificate post haste, and you'll have that to keep as proof of your initiation. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. And now I'd like Nirakula Devi Dasi to say a few words of blessing for all three of the initiates. Full disclosure, I would not be able to function without Nirakula Devi Dasi. She's a better devotee than I am. She keeps my life going. In fact, I don't even know how it goes on because she does everything. And I just sort of somehow drag along. So thank you very much for all that you do. Please, initiates, take advantage of her guidance and her encouragements in every way that you possibly can, because she's got real determination and very deep bhakti for Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So sorry if I gave you too heavy of an introduction, but I really mean it. And please go ahead and give some blessings. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for those blessings. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, all of you. When I joined the Zoom and I saw this illustrious group, I was overwhelmed with emotion. Going to initiations and, if you're married, going to weddings and hearing vows being taken again and the meaning, what it means to take initiation and to see someone else making those commitments, we really feel the strength of that, how rare it is, and what a I would say sacrifice, but it's not, because you're doing the right thing and you all know it. And so I would just say that I'm so happy to see that you all have such wonderful support systems, because in Krishna consciousness, as in life, we go through ups and downs, and our support systems are very, very important. I see Namachintamani's very good friend, Ladini Gopika here, and friendships are very, very important in Krishna consciousness. I would say, I've had that experience myself. So I would just ask all of you to develop your friendships, develop the trust with someone who you can reveal your heart to, who is your well-wisher, and who will be an honest and good friend to you, especially in times of need.
And sometimes small little things that we do for each other that they make a world of difference. I remember, maybe some of you have heard this before. I was really struggling in 1976. I was having a really difficult time in my personal life and in Krishna consciousness. And my dear friend Deva Mata, who I did service with, it was Radhastami, and I didn't go to the temple. And there was a knock on my door about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I opened it, and it was Deva Mata standing there with Rukmini's garland and a plate of Mahaprasadam. And I will never forget her for that. Simple little things. If in your heart you're inspired to do something small like that for a devotee, go with it. Do it. It will make a big difference to them, and you'll feel good. So to all of you initiates, I'm so pleased to be connected with you. I'm at your service as a mother. Don't hesitate. Just as you would go to your mother for anything, please come to me. It is my greatest honor, and you are all my greatest treasures. I pray that Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada bless you with their choicest blessings. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Now we'll have one final kirtan to pray for the mercy of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Are you on, Avantika?
She's joining, I think.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshasarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hey, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare I go Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo I go Hari Bo I go Hari Bo Avantika Harmonia Manisha Kartal for the Hare Krishna singers for the Hare Krishna dancers Venu Gita for everybody all over the world Go Premanande Nitai Goda Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Goda Hari Bo Nitai Goda Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Goda Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please bless and empower our new initiates so that they will always keep your holy name on their lips and strong devotion and dedication in their hearts for serving you and spreading the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Everyone who agrees with these prayers, in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vaishnava Patitanam Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Koti Vaishnaviniki Jai Ho. Shraddha, is there any announcement that we have to make? Everything good?
Yeah, thank you so much, Maharaj, for initiating my god siblings. And thank you so much for blessing both you and for Nirakla Mataji. And a big congratulations to the new initiates. And I would especially like to also thank the Zoom team who had been working, and also Venu Gita Mataji and Shyamlangi Mataji who has been working round the clock, getting everybody ready for this beautiful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu. See you soon.